Hello and welcome here to TalkFCB and welcome back to the channel here today, guys, where yes, unfortunately once again, we're here to talk about injuries. Now, this has been a factor of the season so far. It appears to be only getting worse, and today we're going to be talking about what is a crisis, and particularly ahead of El Clasico. It's only just over a week or so time until we play Real Madrid. The injuries are piling up. Today we're going to be talking about the bad, the dreadful, and there is some good to discuss, but boy do we have to get through some problems. It's on the way, so let's just do it. Now, today's all-important news roundup is coming to you courtesy of the OneFootball app, because can I be completely honest with you, you will need to stay updated, with the news that we are getting here on a regular basis, on a daily basis, with stuff happening at Barca. You need to stay updated, even if it's not all good news. Today we're going to be talking about these injuries. We're talking about players maybe who could step up in the absences, players maybe from the youth teams at Barca, who is going to be able to help out during this crisis right now. And it is important for us to all stay updated here together. OneFootball do a great job in covering Barca. It's an absolutely fantastic way to stay updated, really clean app. You can go through all of the latest stories here, get everything right to your phone. And the best part of all is that it is completely free to download. So if you would like to check out the OneFootball app, if you would like to stay updated on all the Barca news that is bubbling around right now, please do follow the link in the description down below. That will get you the news that you're looking for, and you will be helping the channel in the process. Thank you very much to all of you guys. But if we do, first of all, begin with some breaking news right here today, and that news is that finally, at long last, Frenkie de Jong has now officially signed his contract renewal at the club. He has today confirmed a brand new contract at Barca until 2029. And remember, it was especially important right now because Frenkie's previous contract was set to expire only at the end of the season, so time was ticking down on this. And I think it's also very important here from an FFP point of view. That is why Barca have been really keen to get this done. And of course, the terms hopefully will be good for the club, because obviously this season, Frenkie has been, again, a very important piece in the Hansi Flick puzzle. In that midfield, he's been a very important player alongside of Pedri. I think what we've also seen from Frenkie over the past season or so is him develop into more and more of a leader in this team, and that is also very important too. So good to have him here, continuing at the club. Glad to finally have that signed, and this morning, it is all now official and completely done. But okay, guys, if we do kick off with the injury problems, let's start with Dani Olmo, who, of course, coming into this international break very early on, in a Spanish training session there, he left that session with discomfort, and he is now injured for a number of weeks. And apparently the club, they're really not happy with the way that Dani Olmo handled this situation. Apparently he was already feeling some sort of discomfort heading into the international break, going to that Spanish camp, and then to take part in training, all whilst not really feeling 100%. And apparently the club feel as though Olmo was kind of worried about his World Cup place. He didn't want to pull out of the Spanish camp. He wanted to go there to try and play. And of course the result now, he is out for at least 3 weeks of action. And that's minimum right now. So he is 100% ruled out of the Clasico. It has been a disastrous start to the season for Dani Olmo. Not even here just in terms of injuries, but his overall performance has been, non-existent. Really poor from him. And he will now be sidelined for a number of matches. We also must have an update here on Olmo and Garcia. Now, this is one that really has hurt us. And of course, this is an injury that arrived out of nowhere. It was in a training session all of a sudden he's got a bit of a problem with his knee, and it's hit us really hard, because I do think already we are missing that presence at the back from Olmo and Garcia. I know we've only had him for a very short amount of time there, only a few games of course he's in to his Barca career here, but I think already we felt a security and a confidence with him in goal that we hadn't felt for such a long time in that goalkeeping area. But of course now he is out. He is going to be out of the Clasico. That is the expectation right now. We were hoping that he might be back in time, that maybe it would be a bit of a race against time, but could he make it? The latest in the media is that he is not going to be back for that game. And of course we will hold out still some hope, maybe something miraculous can happen at the last minute. But as of right now, he is not not expected to be there, and that is a colossal loss for us in goal against Real Madrid. Then we move on, though, to Robert Lewandowski. I mean, this one, again, it's come out of nowhere. He's away on international duty with Poland. Now, he has a tear in his thigh. It's a really serious, really significant injury, and that could keep Robert Lewandowski here out for a minimum of 4 weeks of action. This is expected to be a problem here that will keep him out for between 4 to 6 weeks. It all depends there on how he recovers. And admittedly, usually Lewandowski can come back earlier from injury problems. But what I would say about him now, we're starting to see him pick up injuries. He missed the start of the season there, the very end of pre-season with an injury problem. He's now got another one here. He hasn't been playing a huge amount of football so far this season. We know for his age, he is absolutely phenomenal. But maybe things are just starting to catch up with him a little bit right here. And on the face of it now, of course he's out of El Clasico. That is a blow for us. He's been really important in previous games against Real Madrid for us. He is likely going to be out until the next international break. I know, the next international break in November. I mean, these international breaks to start the season, it is absolutely ridiculous. And my question now on Lewandowski would be, after that November break, we've got Athletic Club, then we have Chelsea. Is he going to be back for those games? Again, it's a race against time, and again, it all depends on how he recovers. But it's a really, really big blow for Barca again. Now, speaking of the number 9 area, well, if you don't have Lewandowski, you need to have Ferran Torres then. But even with him, there's been concern right now. Barca confirmed just on Monday here that Ferran has an overload in his hamstring, that he is suffering there with some discomfort, with a bit of an overload in that area. Now, Barca did stress, okay, there's no injury. He's not going to be sidelined for any amount of time. But again, this appears to be a player who's right on the edge. There's so many of these players right now, they are stacking up who are either injured or are on the verge of an injury, without some rest, without some time away. And Ferran right here, he is expected to be available against Girona at the weekend, but, in what capacity? Is he going to be able to start that game? Is he going to be able to play the full 90 minutes, for example? These are big, big questions right here for Hansi Flick. And I would also look as well at Pedri right now. We have heard a lot of really concerning reports throughout this international break about him away with Spain, suffering there with real fatigue, tiredness, burnout, whatever you want to call it. The reality is, Pedri has played a huge amount of games. Not only this season already, he's racking up the minutes, but you look back to last season, he played pretty much every minute that was available for club and for country. And I think at some point, you've got to give him a break. You've got to give him that extended period, or these players will collapse. They will burn out. They will suffer an injury. It almost feels inevitable, but it is so hard as well, because we are talking here in Pedri about such a key player. And then we do move on to Rafinha right now, who I would say on Rafinha, it was looking quite positive. It was looking quite good on him. We originally expected him to return after this international break right here immediately. Now we thought, okay, is he going to be back against Girona, then Olympiacos, then Real Madrid? Now right now though, I think he's actually at risk at the weekend. He may not be able to return against Girona. He might not even be back against Olympiacos. Even the game against Real Madrid, according to the latest reports, it is up in the air right now. And let's wait and see this weekend whether we do see Rafinha. And if we don't, what is the update on him? Has there been some sort of setback in his recovery? And I think that would be a massive blow for us here, because I think we've desperately missed Rafinha over these past games. The team are lacking in energy, they're lacking in urgency, intensity. The pressing has actually suffered in recent games as well. Now, Rafinha provides all of those things in abundance for us, along with everything else that he gives us in the attacking side of the team. So we need him back. He's a leader to this group as well, and hopefully nothing has gone wrong in that recovery. Then though, we do finally have some positive news here when it comes to Fermin Lopez. Now, he has fully returned to training with the group. That happened there on Monday. He has fully recovered from his injury, and he will be ready to face Girona on Saturday. And that will be a much needed return. Dani Olmo is out. Like I say, even when Olmo was available, he was not effective. We need Fermin here to come in to help the team. And with all of these absences in the attacking areas, We need players who can score. We need players right now to chip in with the goals. Fermin is one of those who can do that, and we will need him on Saturday. Believe me, we need everything that we can right now. Which also brings us on to the other fantastic news here today, and that's on Lamine Yamal, because just like Fermin, he is now fully back with the group. He has returned to full training. We were hoping, it wasn't guaranteed. Flip basically said before the break, it's going to be day to day. We don't know if he will be back after the international break, but it does look as though here Lamine is going to be okay. And it was a curious sort of injury. He's been suffering with discomfort all season long, really. It's a really difficult one to manage for the club, but right now they are very, very hopeful. He will be ready against Girona. He could play some minutes as well against Olympiacos and then be fully ready again in the Clasico, but we will have to manage his minutes. You don't want to see him playing 90 minutes, because obviously with Lamine here, he is still suffering a bit. You don't want to overwork him. It goes the same with any player, but again, given the absences we have, given the problems we have in attack, we will need to rely on him. We are going to be looking at him to help us win games, to help us win points, but Lamine, he is back. But here's the thing, guys, because I would still say, even with that positive news here with Lamine, with Fermin Lopez in general, when you're looking at the overall picture ahead of playing Real Madrid, it is a bit of a nightmare. Every single day right here at Barca, it seems as though we get a new problem, we get a new concern. One player is ruled out for a few weeks, another is ruled out for a month. It is really, really getting difficult for us right now. And I would just say right here, this is exactly the same, going into this Real Madrid game as what we saw against PSG. Barca, in that massive game against PSG, we were missing so many key players. In fairness, PSG too, they were missing so many of their key players. And what I would just like to ask here, is this football now? Is this essentially what we have in football? A situation whereby you get these exciting games, these exciting matchups, these historic fixtures, and yet you can never see both teams at their best anymore. You can never see both lineups there with their best players, with their most effective players out there at the same time. And this is what I mean. If you continue to play these players game by game by game, ramp up the fixtures, ramp up the workload, you actually suffer. The overall product will suffer as a result. And in these big games, in these big matchups, you don't get the same quality. You do not get the same two top teams with their best players. You can't consistently get that with the amount of demands we are now putting on these players, guys. So please let me know in the comments down below. What do you make of this situation right now? When you're reading about the injuries, when you're seeing the latest reports come out, what's going through your mind? How are you feeling? Please do let me know in the comments down below, and hopefully soon we can come back and just get excited again. Get excited about Barca, get excited about their return, and hopefully our players will just be okay at the end of all of this. I will see you soon, hopefully for better news to come. But thank you indeed for your great support as always. But until next time, as always, Veshka El Barça.